everyone. Before we start this Q&A session, I thought I'd share with you a little game that me and Dan play sometimes. So Dan Davies, if you don't know who he is a great guy. And what he decided that was really funny to do was you would play a famous theme tune and then you would go ahead and end on the wrong note. And it became a bit of a meme for us. So this is the first one he played that I ever heard, and it was this. And it makes you cringe because it's so wrong. And then I came up with this one the other day. It makes you cringe with how disgustingly horrible it is. And there was this one. So there you go. There's rather than me doing some nice jam thing that so many people have been so kind about, I thought I would just start this video like that. Anyway, all right, guys, how you doing? It's Rabea. Hope you're all well. Thought of getting close this time. It's an Ask the Throw. I think it's number 9. Anyway, I thought I'd get close, because this is like Q&A. I thought, closer to the camera, we can have a little bit more of an intimate kind of talking situation going on here. Anyway, I've got more questions. I hope you're all still enjoying these videos. I quite enjoy making them. It's nice to sort of connect with you guys in this way. So thank you for the questions. If you do have more, bang them in the comments section below. But let's get right into it. Okay, first question from Adam Thomas. He said, Bea, are you self-taught or did you take lessons? I'm assuming lessons. I don't have the means to take lessons and I could only wish I could play like you, man. Always beautiful ambient music coming from your fingers. Thank you very much, Adam. I really appreciate that. I'm self-taught. So 99.9% of my entire playing career has been on my own, self-taught. You take advice from friends and you look at your heroes and you find out, what other people do and how they approach guitar. But yeah, for the most part, I'm self-taught. I did attend ACM, but that wasn't like guitar lessons. Like, I didn't have any one-to-one tuition there or anything like that. Even though they offered it, I never took it. I think the only thing that I learned in terms of playing guitar from that front was learning to connect the dots with things like chords, scales, and that kind of thing, because I knew it and I knew the sound of it. Like the teacher would go, oh, here's Dorian, and I was like, I know that sound, but now I know what it's called, because I learned everything by ear. And that being said, also, like the bulk of my learning to play guitar was done before YouTube, before Google Video, before the internet was really like super saturated. So I spent most of my playing time learning my favorite extreme songs and Satriani and all that stuff by listening to the CD, trying to work it out, rewinding, working it out. And as I'm sure some of you know, my hero is Nuno Betancourt, and he says, and I fully agree with him, is that that's the best way to learn. Rather than watching videos of someone else do it and learn it note for note, it's better to learn and work it out yourself, because then you work out your own sort of methods and techniques of how to get around it. And I think that's really important. I'd say a vast majority of my time spent playing guitar was learning by myself. I would fully recommend doing that, because I think that's how you create your own approach and sound and all that kind of stuff. But if you take lessons, great. If your teacher's good, then fantastic. Listen and learn. But make sure you spend a lot of time playing on your own to start putting those ideas into context and molding yourself as a player. It's really important. And it is even more important to listen to your favorite tunes, work them out by ear, transcribe by ear, whatever it is, because learning to get your ear nice and powerful is very important, in my opinion. I think it's the one thing I've relied on my entire guitar playing career that's never let me down, and it's allowed me to keep on my toes with different musical situations. If I'm jamming and everyone knows the chord charts and stuff and I'm like, oh my god, I'm really struggling, but then I listen and I'm like, okay, I can hang on, and you learn. And that only happens if you've got a keen ear through training it. So yeah, there you go. Next question is from Ben Butterfield. He says, yo, I know you've done one before, but it was quite old, the one I found. But could you do a breakdown of your home recording setup, what you use to record your music, and also for doing your videos? For example, what mics, camera, software, hardware do you use the most? Essential home recording gear for you. Okay, there's quite a few different elements to it, but I've said this before, but I'll say it again. My camera is the Sony Alpha series. I've got an A7 III, which is what I'm filming on now, and I have an A7S II, which is my B cam that I had before the A7 III came out. I use a G Master lens, 16-35 wide angle, and I use a G Master 24-70 on the other camera. And I also have a little small HD monitor that lets me see my face when I'm recording. It's really good for, you know, all that kind of stuff. The mic I use for speech is an Aston Spirit, but I can also use that for my guitar sometimes. I use Planet Waves cables. My home recording rig is a few different elements. I have a Kemper profiler, which is obviously direct if I need it to be. I use a 2-Notes Torpedo Studio, which is what I use most of the time. I also use a Universal Audio aux box as well for different tones. It's good for clean tones and crunches and things like that. Obviously, the amps that you see behind me are the things that I like to use when I'm doing a pedal demo or whatever. You know, of course, it's the pedal in question. I normally run it into my Krakens because I have a clean channel, whatever. Then it goes into my interface, which is Universal Audio Apollo X8P. And I also use the 8P, and I have a Apollo Twin Quad that I daisy chain for processing power and that kind of thing. And I highly recommend the Universal Audio gear and plugins because they're fantastic. And then I use Logic Pro X Final Cut. So I'm all Mac, you know. My monitors are Event Pro Precision 6, I believe, and I use an old R300 Plus reference amplifier, which is really good. It's a monitoring amplifier. It's got heatsink on the side, so it's really quiet, and it's perfectly matched to the speakers, so they can be, if anything like suddenly cracks or goes really loud, it's not going to break the speakers because it's perfectly matched, so it can't over amplify and break anything. My electric drum kit is a Roland TD6V. It used to belong to Rory. He's lent it me for the time being. I've got Ben's Tama Speed Cobras on there, and I use GGD and Superior Drummer. Yeah, and then plugins wise, it's mainly Universal Audio, some Waves stuff, a few bits and bobs like JST plugins. Use a GGD smash and grab compressor now on drums because it's sick. Yeah, I think that's it, to be honest. I don't really think there's anything else. MacBook Pro, yeah, hope that answered your question. Next question is from Cortical1. How you doing, man? Met this guy at NAMM a few years back now. He's such a legend. So hello if you're watching this video. He says, hey dude, I'm always interested in how music is carried forward in families. I'm guessing that your parents had some musical propensities. Is this correct? And if so, what do they play, and how did they influence your musical development? Thanks, and great to see you at NAMM. Yeah, so my dad, it's on my dad's side of the family. My mum's artistic. She used to draw a lot, and her mum used to play piano and stuff, and that was all classical stuff, but really the musical side came from my dad. My dad played guitar. His brother is called Rabea as well, and he plays like drums, bass, guitar. He can sing, he can do all that kind of stuff. I was named after him. And then my dad's other brother, he plays piano, incredible. He's a jazz pianist and some classical stuff, and he's absolutely phenomenal. It's like scary actually how good he is, and he can play and sing and stuff. Then my other dad's brother was a singer and a bass player, and yeah, my dad's got 5 brothers, and they're all musical and artistic, so that's where it came from. So when I was younger, I used to sit there and just listen to them rehearse sometimes at home because they were in a band. There'd be guitars lying around, but I didn't start playing guitar or take an interest in music at all till I was about 8, and that was drums, and then drumming until I did a leg injury and then picked up the guitar. It was the natural progression until I was about 15 and a half, 16. So yeah, I mean, it was always there. But to be honest, before music at all, I was into art. I used to draw, doodle all the time, fine art, sketching, all that kind of stuff. And that was basically what I did for the most part. Next question is from Devon Martinez, and he says, will there be another live recording for Fire by the Silos, like what you guys did with Ode to the Author? Yeah, I definitely want to do another live recording, but a little bit different this time. So I haven't got the details quite worked out yet, but I would hope that we're going to be doing it in more of a venue environment, maybe with a live audience and some additional instrumentation, but we will see. Nothing in the pipeline yet. It's all in planning stages, but hopefully we'll be able to announce something over the course of this year. So just keep your eyes and ears peeled. Next question is from Siren Drums. It says, B. I like that someone's nicknamed me B. What happened to Dorje? For real? Something with Rob? To answer that question really easily, nothing has happened to Dorje. We're actually writing an album. Rob's currently demoing vocals for it now. Yeah, basically the plan is to finish writing the album and get it recorded. In terms of touring and stuff like that, I couldn't tell you what's going on right now because we're all very busy with everything always. But I know that we want to get into the studio and record the album. So there will be a few changes here and there and little things to announce, but overall, you know, we're still together. We've been on a hiatus. You know, bands do that. Bands take breaks, and it's because we wanted to explore other things and pursue different things and career prospects and all that kind of stuff, you know, and things like Ben's got a baby girl and Rob's got a baby boy and all that kind of stuff, you know. This takes time out of your life. So Dorje has just taken a back seat for now, but that does not mean it is finished. Next question is from 5UCA Man. He said, hey, how do you like Towson's guitars? I think they're awesome. I said to him at the time, he's a really nice guy, by the way, met him at NAMM, and I said to him at the time, I was skeptical that it would be something that I would like, just because when you look at them, you go, right, that's a modern progressive metal kind of machine. And I guess that was slightly prejudiced. I sort of judged that that's what it was going to be before actually trying it. And then when I sat down at the booth and had a go and went through his rig, I was really blown away by A, the playability, B, the feel of it. It felt really good to play, and C, the sound with the Fishman Fluence signature set that he had in there. Yeah, I was really, really impressed with how it sounded and how it played. And actually, it's incredibly comfortable to sit and play with it. You know, a lot of the time you see these new shaped guitars, this new age of like guitar design, and I think it's cool. I'm a classic guitar lover, you know. I love a Strat shape, I love a Les Paul shape, I love Telly shapes, you know. That's for me personally, but there's no denying that they're designed ergonomically around the body and the way it feels to play and stuff like that, and it really does work. I really liked them, and hopefully at some point I'll get to play one again. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. Next question is from Jack Reeves. He says, hey, be a big fan of Fire by the Silos. Thank you, dude. He said, I would love to know how you go about structuring and creating sections to Tosca songs, as they are complex and unique from all of the music. Big inspiration. Thank you. Thank you very much for enjoying the album. In terms of creating the sections, it's like it's just in there, and I'm kind of, it'll fall out into the fingers on the guitar normally first. Sometimes it comes as one chunk and I've got drums, bass, guitar in my head. Other times it's just me playing, and then it will just come out and I'll hear the bass and the drums around it. And when we're in the room together, normally what happens is there goes the seed, it's on the guitar, I can play, and then I'll go, right, this is the kind of thing, Ben, this is the kind of thing, Dave, and we kind of jam around it a few times. They turn it into their sound, and then we turn it into that Tosca sound. But in terms of those sections, it's always a chunk of music in my head that I have to sort of get out, and the other guys then take that on board and we learn it and then we write it and then it becomes a thing. It's similar, I guess, like you could relate it to when Rob talks about vocals and lyrics and stuff. You could say it's the same sort of thing. It's like you just hear a full piece of music in your brain and you're like, that sounds cool, I want to play that. So it's a case of getting it out and explaining to the other guys what it is what I'm hearing, and then them interpreting that, because my interpretation of, well, when it's in there, it probably sounds quite different to how it ends up being, just because I don't play bass like Dave and I don't play drums like Ben. But that's the beauty of doing it, is that collaboration. But yeah, the idea that inspiration seed comes from in here and then it's just sort of pushed out to those guys. So I hope that answered your question. Next question is from Ben Daly. He says, could you explain how you do those harmonic taps in the intro of Abermason, which is a song off the Tosca record? They sound like they're plucked, but it looks like you just tapped the fretboard. Either way, it sounds sick. Thank you very much, dude. I do have a guitar, so I'm going to show you how I do that real fast. Let me just turn on the guitar. Okay, so I didn't really account for being this close to the camera when I was doing this bit, but what I'm actually doing there is it's a harp harmonic, I think that's what they're called. So it's where you fret the note down here. In this case it's here, and what I'm doing is I'm finding it 12 frets higher, resting my finger on the string and picking it. So you end up with, for example, let's say 7th fret G. If I do that up here, yep, so the same here, 5th fret. Takes a little bit of getting used to it. It's a bit of a slightly annoying feeling technique because you have to do it over the fretboard, so there's not a lot of distance between the string and the fretboard, and that can sometimes be cumbersome, especially live. You know, when you're in the moment, sometimes I've missed them, but it doesn't matter, because if you miss it, you still hear the note you're trying to ring out anyway, so it just doesn't sound like a harmonic. But that's basically what it is. Guys like Tommy Emmanuel do this with their fingers, and they can pluck and they'll hold a chord and they'll do a combination between plucking a note and then ringing out that harp harmonic and going up and down. Eric Johnson is another guy that does it really well. I literally just do it with one note because that's about all I can manage at a time. Next question is from Bogesh Zahim. I hope I said your name right. He says, hey Beer, I wanted to ask, could we expect to see more Soundlight episodes soon? I really miss them. For those of you who don't know, I do a series of videos on the Andertons channel called Sound Like. It's a show that I was asked to do by Lee years ago, and I wanted to involve Matt, so I asked him if he wanted to get involved. So the two of us basically, we try sound like artists on a budget of £1,500 with the gear that's in the store. It's quite hard. We are filming a load more. We've got 2 shoots booked in that we'll be doing those in March and April, and we've already chosen the artists we're doing, so yeah, you will be seeing more Soundlight episodes very soon. Next question is from Dogfighter666, and he says, do you know Architects, and do you know that they used a Kraken on their new album Holy Hell? That guitar tone is so good. Okay, I did know that, and I do know Architects. Architects are great. I've never met them, but I know they're based in Brighton, and I know Adam. We comment on each other's stuff on Instagram. I've never actually met him. Yeah, basically, I knew that because Nolly he came to my house so I could give him a Kraken, and he's got that in his studio, and I know he's been using that with bands at Middle Farm and stuff like that, and he really likes it, and he recorded their album, so that's probably how that happened. But thank you to Adam and Architects for using that, and Nolly for using that amp. It's very cool to hear that artists like that are using it and enjoying it. Yeah, it's just cool, and I think it's just testament to Martin's amazing ability to make any amp sound fantastic, even if it's in a style of music that he doesn't choose to play personally. So that's really, really awesome, and hopefully he'll get to play the Super Kraken and enjoy that too. So if you're watching this video, get in touch, man. Okay, so the last question is from Josh Castle. Hey man, how you doing? And he says, hi Beer, I spy a new tattoo. I saw you got it based off Japan, but what about your other tattoos? Do they have any significant meaning? Basically, show off the ink. Okay, yeah, I did. I got this tattoo. It's Japanese waves, the famous Japanese waves image, surrounded by like a dotwork geometric frame that we designed by a guy called Dotwork Damien, based in Brighton at Skinned Alive Tattoo. Very cool guy, and I got that because I wanted a tattoo in Japan when I was there, because I've always wanted to go since I was a kid, and getting to go was amazing, and really, really, I don't think I'll ever forget the trip, and I'm going to go back. But anyway, that was to remind me of that. And then, as you may have seen, I've just got like a half sleeve that goes all the way up. So first of all, how am I going to do this? This one is the Dorje Centered and One artwork, and we got that because we wanted to celebrate that record getting to #1 in the iTunes rock charts and the Billboard top 10 and the #1 UK rock charts. It was just like an amazing thing that happened. So that was to sort of mark that. And then all this stuff was done by Esme Baker at Boiler Room Tattoo. She's a really cool artist. It's inspired by, like, I really love Brandon Boyd's artwork from Incubus. And then there's a little beetle here, which also looks like a mask, depending on which way around you look at it. He's called Reuben Cooper. And then up the arm, there's this shoulder piece here, which I got done by a good friend of mine. It's quite old, that one now. And then right at the top is half of the Tosca brain, as you can see, in like a little mandala type thing. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, basically, it was 2 of these tattoos were placed a little bit without any thought, so Esme had a bit of a hard time like pulling it all together, but she did a great job, and I really love this half sleeve. And I've also got a massive piece on my calf, which I'll give John a photo to put here somewhere, which she did as well, which is really cool. That was inspired by Arikan Prota, who is a drummer. He drums for Fever 333 and also Night Verses. If you don't know, check them out. And he's an incredible artist and illustrator, and I got a few of his pieces and we kind of did like an inspired by that type of artwork on my leg. And this is going to be a full sleeve one day, and basically I love tattoos. They're great. They're really painful, but they're really nice. And yeah, there you go. Anyway, that would conclude this Ask the Fro video, and thank you very much for the questions. Hope you enjoyed it. If you've got more questions, bang them in the comment section below, and I'll do my very best to answer them next time. You've all been very wonderful. Thank you, and I will see you all very soon.